Hi, and welcome to today's podcast. My name is Carl Smith. I'm the owner and business coach at Concept Fitness Consultancy. The intention of these podcasts is to offer support to trainers and coaches, and probably right now more than ever, there shouldn't be a shortage of help available. My intention is that these podcasts will be around 20 minutes in duration, hence the name of the podcast, 20 questions in 20 minutes. And each week I'll interview a different coach and trainer that's making it work right now. If you've got any questions at all, please drop them in the comments box below. But right now, let me introduce you to Charly Stakim. I think I've got that right, Charly. Hi, Charly.
You got it right. Well
Yay.
done, well done. It's hard to pronounce. You did a good job.
Thanks. As if we rehearsed it. I've known Charly certainly for a good couple of years now as a coach, a personal trainer, and group exercise instructor. Charly was based up in Cumbernauld in Scotland, although I do believe you've recently moved to Ayr, which I think is about an hour away. So effectively recently you've had to kind of set things all up again, so be interesting to hear how you're approaching that. Charly has a huge following on social media, and during lockdown one, shall we call it, Charly, I was tasked to help build a virtual platform for our members at Exercise for Less, and Charly volunteered her services to deliver an LBT class on a Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, I think, off the top of my head, and week in, week out, you have the largest audience, and what I think Charly is really good at is building a community. We had a social media feed for our virtual solution, and every week you would see members taking selfies of themselves with Charly on the TV in the background, which is something I've never seen before. So I'm hoping today that Charly might be able to share a few stories with regards to how she builds her following and how she approaches building her audience. So Charly, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you started your business and why?
Of course. Oh, thank you. That was such a lovely intro. And yeah, I remember the sweaty selfies. That was like the best times. And yeah, I think this is such a great concept. I would have loved to have something like this, especially when I started my PT journey, a podcast where I could hear from other trainers and learn from that. So thanks so much for inviting me on. But yes, I'm Charly Stakim. I own Train by Charly, which is my personal training business, which operates now both online and in person. I'm a mum, I'm a model, but first and foremost, I'm a personal trainer, and I absolutely love what I do. I started personal training, it was honestly, when I run into people from school and they learn that I'm a personal trainer, it is like the most shocking thing to them. I was so not into fitness at school. I was not into health and wellness in the slightest. When I had my daughter, I realised I wasn't looking after myself, and I had a huge health kick. And from that, I developed a passion for health and wellness and helping other people find that passion in themselves as well, because I didn't realise how important it was, and now it's so funny to think because it's the forefront of everything that I do. So on my fitness journey, it grew and grew and grew. I was learning more about nutrition and how to fuel my body properly. And then I started to experiment with different forms of exercise, going to group fitness classes and, going to the gym. And realizing the struggles that I had, I wanted to help other people be able to flourish through them, like gym anxiety or, being worried to start somewhere. So studied to be a personal trainer and never looked back, and Here we are.
And so you've been, what do you call yourself? I mean, and in the right kind of way. You're a personal trainer. I've known you as a coach, and I know you've also got a passion for group exercise. So, what terminology do you use to describe what you do?
I'm I chop and change between. I'm not really like honed in on one, but when I talk to people, I always just say personal trainer. So I say I'm a trainer. I suppose in an element when you're on the job, you do become a coach, because it does become a lot more about more than just the training. It's their mindset. It's how you are with them, and you've got all that outside of the gym stuff as well. So I suppose that does make you a coach. But the brand's Trained by Charly, so we're a trainer. We're a
Perfect.
trainer by Charly.
I know you do. We've mentioned obviously that you do personal training on one-to-one. Is there? But you also do groups. So do you prefer delivering sessions to groups or one-to-one? And I suppose if there is a preference, what's the reason for that?
So it's a very tough throw up between the two. I love one-to-one training because I think there's nothing like getting to know someone on that level. Group training has a very, very special place in my heart. And the reason for that, and it probably is my favorite, if I'm honest, group training, is because of the community that is created by it. And I remember when I started the gym for the first time, I was so nervous and so scared about trying different exercises, and was someone going to think I looked, I was doing it wrong or pick my form apart. But group exercise creates these very inclusive environments where it's a safe space for you to go and learn and be with people who maybe are just starting out just like you. And the energy that it adds to you kind of, I think my clients give as much to me as I give to them from an energy standpoint to motivate each other through the workout. So I have never seen anything like group fitness and what that creates for people. So yeah, I've got to say group training is a big favorite of mine.
And I think it's one of those things that certainly throughout the lockdown, it's difficult to replicate that. We tried to deliver a virtual experience, but without being able to get together, people turn up to their classes 15 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes longer before, just to have a chat with their friends. So it's much more than the exercise. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's the support, the friendships, the accountability. It's an entirely different style of training. And I always say a lot of people like to go into the gym and head down and get it done themselves. But I always encourage those people to try group fitness, because I think it adds that extra element. And it's the things that go on outside as well. Like a lot of my clients that were doing group fitness would go and do a workout together after the class.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so look, thinking about the personal training side of things then. So what did you think being a PT was going to be like before you got started, and were you right?
I wasn't right at all. It's entirely different. It's entirely different to what I thought it'd be. It's better.
Okay.
But I didn't think, I obviously have always cared about my clients, but I didn't think you would form the relationships with your clients that you do. I get so invested in my clients' goals, and I think that's something I need to actually work on as a PT, because I feel like sometimes I'm more invested in their goals than they are, and just want to see them succeed. But I always explain it to people like, the first session's always very formal, like what are your goals, and like how heavy can you squat at this point, how far can you run, and like their divorce and what's going on with their kid at school. And you really know them, like it's almost like not a therapist, but you become that integral part of their day. So yeah, that was something that I totally didn't expect. When I became a personal trainer, I thought I would just be helping them on that like not superficial level, but with all those kind of things. But it goes so much deeper when you are actually in the industry and you are coaching.
And you 100%, and if you get it right, that's why clients stay with you for forever, or certainly as long as is possible. I remember speaking to a trainer when I first started, who said to me that my job is to make myself redundant. And I said, what do you mean by that? He says, well, my job is to help my clients achieve their goals, and then when they've achieved them, they don't need me anymore. And I thought, well, unfortunately, I thought that kind of doesn't make any sense to me, because you just make new goals, right?
Well, yeah, you would assume so, but I think people stay for different reasons that they come to PT. Is what keeps a long-term client. I'd say they come because they think, I want to lose weight, I want to gain muscle, I want to tone up, I want to look like this girl on Instagram, or whatever their goal is. Goal setter, you're setting goals with them. You're sitting down with your client and going, okay, what are we doing next? What's the next thing we're striving for? So yeah, I think it evolves. Their why evolves with time.
Yeah. So what did you wish you knew then that you now know now, if that makes any sense?
Oh, there's so many different things. I think like a bit of advice, like what would stand out?
Yeah, I mean, you think when you first got started, I remember personally when I first got started as a PT, I must have wasted at least 2 months of my. Um, I started in a gym where you got the first month for free, and then in terms of rent, and then you paid a little bit of rent, and then it sort of went up in a staged approach. And I'd argue probably that the first 2 months I just wasted, and before I knew it, I was having to pay, and I didn't really have any clients because I didn't know what I was doing. But in hindsight, if I'd have known certain things, maybe I'd have got moving a bit quicker. Do you have anything like that you might have sort of reflected on and thought, actually, that one key thing would have got me moving quicker?
Yeah, I think it is about making that mindset shift. And I'd already kind of been semi-familiar with it, but it's a bit, I suppose it's different if you're going into an employed PT role.
Yeah.
But as a self-employed PT, it's about making that shift from employee mindset, working hour, paid an hour, to working for yourself.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, you could call them unpaid hours that you need to put in the early stages. And if you're not used to that, if you're used to that instant gratification, it's just not going to happen. Like, you need to invest in yourself, even when you don't see those results at the start.
You make a good point as well in terms of the trust element, because I think that what maybe young trainers, when you first get started, and you say you don't realize how many hours you've actually got to put into it to get your face out there. It's about building trust, and the more people tend to see you, the more they trust you. And it might take a couple of months of them seeing your face around the gym before they approach you, because they want to make sure that you're going to be around. So you're right, it takes a lot of time and energy, and the ones that are successful, and rightly or wrongly, the ones that put a lot of time in certainly at the beginning, and you tailor that down throughout your career, don't you? You hopefully don't continue to work 60, 70 hours a week, but you certainly need to be there at the beginning. So no, good advice. So what about kit? Is there any, I'm starting to think about how people have adapted their businesses throughout this sort of COVID era, let's call it. Is there any particular kit that you that you just couldn't do without, or you
software, like things online?
More equipment, I suppose. I was kind of thinking how people have adapted their, do you need a squat rack? Do you need a Olympic bar? What is there any particular piece of kit, equipment wise, that you couldn't do without, or other solutions elsewhere?
I think so. I entirely think so. I think if I'm being entirely honest, I've been quite fortunate in that my clients' goals can, they don't necessarily need at this exact moment in time super heavy equipment. So I'm able to take my clients to the beach now that I live in Ayr. Like, I can take them there. We can do, we can do HIIT workouts, we can run, we can use the things that are around us. So for me, moving to outdoor training was definitely a bit of an uncomfortable shift. Yeah. But it's so possible. And I just now have in my boot of my car, I always have some dumbbells, I always have my yoga mat, I always have resistance bands, and just those things you can do a lot.
How have your clients been in terms of adapting to outdoor training? I don't know, for example, if somebody was having 3 sessions a week in a nice warm gym, are they up for training outside 3 times a week just to keep things going, or how have you found that?
I think people are desperate to get out their house and do things. I've actually found my clients more motivated than normal, because their whole lives have shifted. Yeah. So, but also a big part of that is my journey with fitness has changed. Like, I didn't have access to a gym. So like, I wasn't a runner before this year, and then Couch to 5K in March was all systems go. But it was never a type of training that I did. And I think that's one of the positives to come out of this year, was I was able to, learn about other forms of training and styles of training.
Yeah. Well, that leads me on to my next question, which we've discussed kit a little bit. But tech is something that there are lots of different apps, and I've spent the last couple of weeks looking at various different things to support trainers. And is there any particular app or tech that you've either come across recently, or not that you couldn't live without it, but is there anything that you'd recommend to clients or other coaches? Sorry.
Yeah, I have a few things actually. So when I started, I used my PT Hub.
Okay.
That was what I started with. Reason being, it was an easy way to, first of all, just financially to take everything into Stripe, which is basically where the payments go, and pay you a salary essentially. I know with PT, if you're doing it yourself, it can be a bit crazy. Like you're getting paid on the 5th, and you're getting paid on the 4th, and then you're getting paid here. Even just to collect that took a lot of the stress, especially as newly self-employed, when that's not something you're used to. Took that out of it. There's an exercise library, it was all there for me. So that was a great starting place. However, I've now moved. So I worked with a company called Off Brand. They're a Scottish company, and I worked with them on my website. But what I loved about them was we worked together to, create my new brand strategy, which was a big help for like my marketing. But on top of that, create my website, which the payments worked out less than my PT Hub. Brilliant. So I think if you're at a point where you are thinking of moving to online coaching, or you are moving, invest in your own website. It's probably going to work out better. It's going to look slicker. You'll have more control over it, which you might not get access to on the personal trainer apps. And I think a lot of people shy away from this because they're like, oh, I don't know about my own website yet, or like how that would work, but always just outsource and ask. I wonder because it's definitely been a huge massive impact.
I wonder if it's cost, is it, you can spend thousands on a website. Do you mind sharing, what ish the cost of getting your website built was, so that
so to start with, you're talking, I'll just, rather than talking like, it's roughly the cost of like a cheap laptop is what you're gonna be spending setting your website up. But the monthly payments for me now, so I don't know if this has changed, so like don't at me my PT Hub, but they were around £60 a month is what I was for access to that. Whereas now, working with Off Brand, I'm down to 30. So it's there was an upfront payment that I had to pay to get that all set up. However, long term, like it's saving you massively, and it's all catered to your brand, which I think is so personalized, so great. And it means you have a lot more flexibility over it as well. So I would definitely say if you're at a point to invest in your business, do that because it's definitely worth it.
Well, it sounds like it's the cost of a session. So that makes loads of sense to me. Okay, well, what would be your best advice to new trainers now coming into the industry? Would there be a focus on online training, or you don't let me put words in your mouth? What would be your best advice to a new trainer? So just getting started.
I think when you're just getting started, and I know it's so, if you just started this new job and times are tough for people financially right now, it's hard to not focus on the cash and what you're going to earn. But I would say for your first little while, make the action your focus rather than the outcome. So like just put the outcome away and do the hours that is required and that you feel that you're worth. Another massive tip that I would give, and this was probably my biggest regret starting PT. I'm actually going to tell a story about this. You were there, Carl. So when I started as a PT, I was so bad at comparing myself to other trainers, so bad. And as soon as I did my PT course, obviously your Instagram algorithm, your Facebook, shows you PTs, more successful PTs than you, people that have ads, people that have been in the industry for 10 plus years. And I was constantly shown these things, and it makes you feel like, oh, is there a space in the market for another PT? Like, should I even be doing this? Like, that person's really like, Carl came down for a PT day to coach us all, and he said, right, Charlie, run a boot camp for these personal trainers. And I just froze. Like, I remember being so scared And standing up, and I started off, I was shaking, and all that was going through my head, it was so ridiculous looking back now, was these personal trainers have been in the industry longer than me, they're going to pick apart my form, they're going to judge me. I think just know, if you're into fitness, Facebook's going to show you online PTs, Instagram's going to show you them, it's going to seem like everyone is an online fitness trainer, but know that the average person who needs your services isn't going to be seeing as many PTs as you. They're not in the gym every day talking to 15 personal trainers. So just keep focused on what it is you're doing. Yeah, that would be my best advice.
And look, I also remember that day as well, and you did really, really well. Nobody would have known. Maybe some advice to offer you back is often when you feel super nervous inside, if you look in the mirror, you don't look any different. Sometimes that nervousness can push you forward. Look, it's interesting you tell the story, because I certainly didn't know that at the time. Seemed like you've been doing it for years to me. Okay, Charly, so would you recommend any particular courses? I know level 2 and level 3 are obviously essential parts of being a PT, but I've always considered those as entry-level qualifications. There's level 4, there's nutrition. Is there anything particular that you'd recommend?
100%. And what I'd say is, you know how people become Monroe baggers and they collect all the mountains? Become a CPD bagger, okay, with all your CPD courses. And the reason being, a lot of PTs will turn their nose up at this because maybe a lot of the time the courses are day courses, and it may seem that you don't really learn that much on the day, but you will learn something. You will take something away, even if it's just new exercises, networking, meeting other PTs and learning what they do. But I've loved the CPDs that I did. I did obviously spin. I think is an essential for any trainer, even if you don't love a spin class. So good, even just to teach you about energies in the room and storytelling through your training and your classes is just vital. Gym-based boxing. I love training boxing with my clients, and I'm not a professional boxer, but even just to change it up and give it a different, spin on a session that's getting a bit stale. It's good to just add in circuits. And I'm now doing my pre and postnatal courses now, because I'm getting a lot of people who are pregnant or had just had their kids wanting to train. Brilliant. But I would say, importantly, is if you're in lockdown right now, I know Scotland aren't, but England are, what a great time to throw yourself into these courses and, gain more skills as a PT. If you're sitting around and you have a little bit more extra time, perfect opportunity for you to do some online courses. There's an abundance out there. So many, a lot of them have lowered their prices right now as well, because they're aware of the situation. Yeah. So yeah, use this time to grow your skills.
Good advice. Good advice. I hear you read a lot of self-development books in your spare time. Do you have a top 3?
So I think it's essential for anyone to do. Like, maybe a controversial opinion, but I honestly think you always need to be working on your mindset, whether you're a trainer, a client, whoever you are in life, a fireman. Like, I think you need to be working on your mind. So personal development is a thing I include in my day every single day. I don't 3. The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod is great because his story is absolutely exceptional, and it talks about having a really strong morning routine and how that affects mindset. And a lot of my clients actually have now read that book, and I see differences in their training. I see difference in their mindset. So it's a lot of things you can offer your clients as well. The Chimp Paradox is another one. It's absolutely insane. Love the Chimp Paradox. And I think my last one would be Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. So slightly more business based, but I know my personal training business has done really well because of that book. So those would be my top 3.
Okay, so marketing strategy. This is something I think you are definitely really good at. What would be the single best marketing strategy that you've used in the past?
The best marketing strategy is, it's got to be being authentically yourself on your social media. So if you follow me on Instagram, it's at Charly Stakim or at _trained by Charly. You can follow me on there. I talk on my stories every day, and I make an effort to do so. And this was something that I used to be scared to do, but I knew in order for people to connect with me, buy my product, you know, become a client, whatever it was, they needed to know, like, and trust me. So I had to be someone to them worthy of, like, you know, somewhat of influence, which meant I had to give value on my stories daily. And I used to be such a perfectionist about this. I used to be like, I've got to do my makeup, like I've got to have good lighting, like you honestly don't to be about. Ask them, why did you come to me for personal training? They'll say, oh, you always were posting funny videos with your daughter, and it just reminded me of me because, like, I have a daughter and, you know, we connect over that. Or I'll put up that, like, I absolutely love cheesecake. I talk about cheesecake all the time on my story, but I'm a personal trainer that loves cheesecake. So a lot of people will be like, oh, like, I came to you because, you know, if you're eating cheesecake, like there's got to be something in this. So there's little things that you don't think are important, but sharing your personality, things that you like in your life alongside fitness. But you can speed this process up by asking questions on your story. I know that, shout out to Jamie Tex on his story, but he gets a lot of his clients jumping on there going, good, like I hit a personal best in the gym today, and he shares that.
Yeah.
So he's giving people that opening to interact and be shared. And I think that creates such good engagement, and it all tunnels off each other. So yeah, be like good at interacting with people and creating that community, because it sounds cheesy, but like your vibe attracts your tribe. But it's so true. It's so true. All the clients that I've got from social media have a lot of similar qualities to myself, because I'm sharing that, and that attracts the people who like that. Mm-hmm. So know that there's a place for you, and don't change it up based on other things you see.
I think what I've taken from what you just said is it's about honesty. So it's certainly the way you build your community, and it's about portraying yourself. There are some trainers that I suppose would separate themselves, their product from themselves, and market a product. I guess you market yourself. So, you know, the way you seem to build that community, and maybe that's why you get so much engagement, is it's you being honest about you. And that's what people are buying into, as opposed to you selling them a quick fix or selling them a solution. You're not selling, you are selling something, but you're really just promoting yourself. And if people like, and you're almost saying, if people like me, then join me. And if you don't, and you want more cutting edge conversation, then you happily follow somebody else.
That's exactly it. Nail on the head. Yeah, it's just about being authentically yourself and engaging like that. Don't feel like because some big successful personal trainer that you follow online slates something that you need to, if that's not true to you.
Yeah,
it'll make you stand out in the end. In terms of building my community, it is intentional what I'm building. And a tip for this is create an avatar of who you're speaking to, just one person. So when I started, I was trying to appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
And because of that, my message was being heard by nobody. So I was trying to speak to people of all ages, all genders, with all hobbies and all fitness goals. And of course, I'm super inclusive. Like I would train anyone, and that is the case. But I think sometimes you need to zone right in on who you are targeting, essentially, which sounds quite aggressive, but who you're targeting. So I have my exact model. So I train a girl, like, sorry, this isn't a real person, this is my avatar. It's called Sarah. She's called Sarah. She's a hairdresser. Like, she loves a girly gossip. That's her thing to do. She's tried Slimming World a few times. She can never really quite get her head around fitness. She likes true crime documentaries and loves to eat cheesecake. But go really specific. She's got 2 kids. She's busy. Yeah, go as detailed as you like, because when I'm talking to Sarah every time. So when I go on, I'm like, hey babe, how's it going? I just went a run today. Yada yada. Obviously, there's no Sarah. That's not a person I'm talking to. But when I'm talking, I'm imagining we're just having a catch up. Like that's who that is. So when I'm talking about deals and offers and things like that, I'm saying, like, what's going to help Sarah? So if I'm talking about nutrition, I'm saying, like, if you can't get your head around nutrition, like, because that's what Sarah, she can't. So I'm saying, if you can't get your head around that, this will help you specifically.
Yeah.
And fair enough, half the people that are maybe watching my stories or on Instagram, definitely more than half, that's not going to resonate with, but someone it will resonate with so deeply. They'll be like, I feel like she's talking directly to me. And that is that whole vibe attracts your tribe. So really get clear on what your message is when it comes to fitness, when it comes to your brand, when it comes to what you stand for, and be so integral with that. So for example, another example of this is I'll sometimes with my following get offered brand deals from different companies, and I will reject like paid partnerships if they don't align with my brand. For example, waist trainers. No offense to people who like waist trainers, but it doesn't align with my message and what I'm trying to say to people. It'd be controversial. Like if like a shake diet doesn't align with what I'm trying to show people, so I won't partner with those brands intentionally, because it doesn't fit in with what my message is. So be super clear in your message and just share that. You don't need to spend long on it. You don't overthink it, but really write down your values, and your avatar will really help.
I think that's amazing advice. When did you start your online PT then? So did you sort of build your community before you thought I want to do online PT, or did you build your community with an intention of servicing them with online PT?
I always had the intention. Of going online, but lockdown definitely sped that process up. So I knew that I had to move a little bit faster. But I wanted to give value first. An important thing is you can't just come out with a product without giving any value first. So I'd spent a lot of time, building that community, giving free things, free workouts before I even sold workouts, and things like that. So yeah, I would say March, I started doing online personal training, realized that I couldn't, I'm such a belly to belly person. Like I love in-person training. So I found it selfishly unenjoyable. Like, I wasn't loving it. And wanted to, I love creating content. I love helping people in a different way. So I said, how can I bring group fitness? How can I bring people together in this community and do that online instead of doing the one-to-one Zoom sessions? So ways of doing that, obviously yourself and me, we did the online classes, so that was good. If your gym offers that, definitely do it. I know a lot of people are doing it just live on their Instagram, and they're just doing live workouts, but I now sell plans. So I sell 12-week plans, rooted in self-love, backed by science, and we sell those plans online, and it's just a very generic plan. However, it's so great because it's so accessible to loads of different goals, and I provide a PDF with that talks about how to adapt things to your specific goals. It means everyone's doing the same, but that's great because it creates community. They're comparing, they're helping each other, and that was the best way for me moving forward with my brand.
What would be your best piece of advice right now?
Right now, obviously times are difficult. There's no point in lying about it. However, don't let doubt take you out. So I think it's very easy to think, oh, it's my job. Should I look to other avenues? Should I become a delivery driver? Should I be a nurse now? Like, should I change career because gyms are closing? A lot of people aren't making a lot of money. But just know there's always going to be a place for wellness. And there always is. It's a booming industry, and it's still growing with lockdown. Also, on top of that, people are now putting a massive focus on their health and wellness because of everything that's happened. I can see a huge shift already. So focus on these positive things and be careful what you consume. I think it's very easy to wake up, get on your phone, read the news, it's doom and gloom, the gyms are closed, now my personal trainer friends moaning on their story, now I'm in a Facebook group and they're all moaning, and be sitting going, oh, this is awful. So don't let doubt take you out, and really be careful what you consume. You need to be very mindful where you're putting your focus and staying positive. But yeah, I hope if I can help anyone, you find me on Instagram. drop me a message. I would love to have a chat. But yeah, I hope that was helpful.
I guarantee that it that it was. Charly, thank you very much. Thank you for your time today, and I'm definitely going to invite you back in a couple of weeks to dig into some more detail. Thank you very much, and nice to catch up.
Yes, lovely. Lovely. So good to see you. Thanks for inviting me on.